What do you do when your own body betrays you? When out of nowhere, your system floods itself with cortisol and drops into a freefall you can't stop. Before you can make sense of it, your body is already bracing for something you can't name. It is responding to danger that isn't there, leaving you suspended in a moment you don't understand. Your skin buzzes, and it feels like you're falling through the center of yourself while nothing around you is actually happening. And the worst part isn't even the panic, it's the confusion. That sickening, disorienting moment where your mind starts hunting for a threat that doesn't exist. You check your thoughts for evidence of disaster. You scan your life for something that justifies this intensity. You replay yesterday, last night, this morning, trying to catch the thing you must have missed. But your mind comes up empty and your body keeps escalating anyway, as if it's reacting to a truth it won't share with you. That's what breaks you open. The disconnect between what your body feels and what your life is showing you. The body behaving as if something has already happened, while the rest of your life stays perfectly normal. The day hasn't started, nothing has gone wrong, and yet your system reacts like something has already fallen apart. You try to ground yourself, but everything feels slightly off, slightly distant, like you're watching your life from half a step outside of it. You're aware enough to know you're here, but not enough to feel like you're in yourself. And this is where the fear turns into something else, something heavier, the realization that you can't escape what's happening inside your body, and you can't explain it either. This is the moment where your system whispers your mind isn't ready to hear. Something inside you is ending. Nothing inside you feels familiar, and nothing you reach for brings you back, but nothing shifts, nothing breaks, nothing resolves. You're just there, inside the collapse of a version of yourself you didn't know had already begun to die. And that's where the void begins, not as emptiness, but as a confusion so complete it takes the ground out from under you. Of course you want to run back to anything familiar. Your body thinks it's losing the self it depended on. You don't want awakening. You don't want insight. You don't want transformation. You want the shaking to stop, the fear to stop, the sense of your own body turning against you to stop. You want your body to settle so you can breathe again. And that makes perfect sense. When your system doesn't recognize what's happening, every part of you reaches for whatever used to hold you together. Anything that feels known, even if it was painful. But what you don't yet understand is that this moment is a milestone. You've been doing the work for years, unraveling old patterns, loosening the defenses you built to survive, confronting truths you once ran from, refusing to keep living from the smallness you outgrew. And every one of those choices chipped away at the version of you that once carried all your fear. Piece by piece, it weakened, slowly, quietly, almost imperceptibly. And now it's finally starting to dissolve. Of course, it feels terrifying. The self that carried you for so long is slipping away, and your body is reacting as if it's losing the only framework it ever trusted. It's not just unfamiliar. It feels like dying, and if it feels like death, that's because it is. The death of the version of you that lived in fear, in control, in hypervigilance, in survival. The death of the self you needed then, but can't carry anymore. This isn't a breakdown. This is the ending of an identity. Your system isn't reacting to danger. It's reacting to the loss of the person it was built to protect. And your body doesn't know how to interpret that yet. Not because danger is present, but because your inner architecture is changing in real time. This is the part no one talks about. Transformation sounds beautiful in theory, but in reality it feels like losing everything you depended on. It feels like standing on the edge of yourself with nothing to grab onto. And it doesn't wait for readiness. It doesn't slow down so you can catch your breath. It's like giving birth. Once the process starts, there is no stopping it. You can resist it, fight it, cling to what you used to be, or try to rebuild the old version of yourself just so the fear quiets down. Every part of you will reach for the old self, even the parts you thought you let go of. But there's a moment, quiet, brief, almost hidden, when something inside you recognizes what's actually happening. When you sense that the intensity isn't chaos, but transition. When you feel, even faintly, the truth beneath the fear. You've reached the exact threshold you've been moving toward for years. The collapse you're feeling is not destruction. It's release. It's the undoing of the self you outgrew. And the only way through it is to let the process finish what you started long before you knew what it would cost. What happens next is the part that feels the most confusing, because your body doesn't calm down just because you finally understand what's happening. In fact, it often gets louder. Once the old identity begins to dissolve, your system reacts the same way it would if you abruptly stopped giving it something it depended on. And that's exactly what this is. Withdrawal. Not from a person, not from a habit, not from a situation. Withdrawal from the identity that used to organize your entire inner world. You spent years living inside a self built from vigilance, control, anticipation, and survival. Even when it hurt you, it was familiar. It was reliable. It told your system how to feel, how to react, how to stay safe. And now that it's disappearing, your body is scrambling to find the structure it used to lean on. That's why the sensations get more intense. That's why the fear feels sharper. That's why the emptiness feels deeper. Your system is trying to pull you back into what used to define you simply because it knows how to function there. It's not trying to sabotage you. It's trying to anchor you. It's trying to bring you back to the version of you that made sense to your nervous system, even if that version was built from pain. And in this stage, the body doesn't want the truth. It wants the familiar. It wants routines you don't believe in anymore. It wants patterns you've outgrown. It wants emotions you stopped feeding. It wants the old gravity, the emotional weight that once held everything in place. And when it can't find those old anchors, the system fires off everything it has left. The buzzing, the restlessness, the shaking, the sense of danger with no source, the sudden pull toward things you no longer want. That pressure you feel inside your chest isn't a warning. It's your system trying to return you to a self that no longer exists. This is why it feels like something is wrong. This is why it feels like you're falling apart. This is why you feel pulled backward, even as something inside you knows you can't go back. Your old identity is dissolving, and your body is going through withdrawal from the only version of you it ever truly understood. You're not collapsing, you're detaching. And that detachment is what creates the emptiness, the confusion, the weightlessness, the sense that you're standing between lives with no way to hold on to either one. This isn't the end of you. It's the end of the version of you that was built for survival, not for living. What catches people off guard in this process isn't the fear or the intensity, it's what comes after. Because once the old identity begins to release its hold, there's a moment where nothing rises to replace it. No new direction, no new clarity, no new sense of who you are. Just a strange open space inside you that feels unfamiliar and almost impossible to describe. It isn't emptiness in the way you imagine it. It's more like the absence of the noise you used to live inside, the absence of the constant inner pressure, the absence of the persona you used to step into every day without noticing. It's a quiet that doesn't comfort you yet, because you're still learning how to exist without the old architecture telling you who to be, and that quiet can feel unbearable. Not because anything is wrong, but because the mind isn't used to operating without its old anchors. You look for the reactions you used to have, and they're gone. You reach for the certainty you used to rely on, and it doesn't show up. You try to think from the old patterns, and nothing in you responds. And that lack of immediate identity feels like losing orientation. Like you're inside your life, but not fully connected to it. This is the part of the journey people often mistake for regression. They think the numbness means they're shutting down. They think the stillness means they're disconnected. They think the lack of direction means something has gone wrong. But this is the natural consequence of no longer being the person you were. When the old self dissolves, there is always a phase where nothing has formed in its place. It's not a failure. It's not a void to escape. It's the neutral ground between identities, the space where you're no longer who you were and not yet who you're becoming. Nothing is supposed to feel clear here. Nothing is supposed to feel settled. The point of this phase isn't to have answers. The point is to stop forcing the old ones. This space is uncomfortable because it is honest. It reflects the truth of where you are without the illusion of a persona to hide inside. This isn't emptiness. It's the first moment in your life when nothing is telling you who you have to be. And even though it feels like suspension, like waiting for something you can't name, this is the first time your system isn't being shaped by who you used to be. That absence feels strange, but it's also the beginning of a different kind of life. One that isn't built from repetition, but from possibility. So where does that leave you? You can't go back. You can't go forward. And the here and now feels unbearable, like a place you were never meant to stay. You aren't who you were anymore, but you can't feel who you're becoming. And it's that in-between that hurts the most. It makes you want to bargain with reality. It makes you want to plead for the old self back, even if it costs you everything. It makes you want to rush toward the new self, even though you have no idea what that even means. But here's the truth that softens everything. You're not supposed to go anywhere right now. Not backward, not forward, not into answers, not into clarity, not into a new identity. This moment isn't asking you to move. It's asking you to stay with yourself while everything familiar dissolves. To stay even when it feels impossible. To stay even when the mind screams for escape, because this isn't a place of punishment. It's a place of transition. And transitions are never comfortable, they're honest. You're standing inside the exact threshold you've been inching toward for years. Not the glamorous part, not the calm part, the real part. The part where everything you used to lean on disappears and something new hasn't formed yet. Of course, it feels unbearable. That doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. And it doesn't mean it won't change. The process is already happening. You're already moving, even if you can't feel movement. Your only task is to not abandon yourself here, not to fill the space, not to force a direction, not to rebuild a past version of yourself just so the fear quiets down. Your courage right now is in the staying, in the breathing, in letting this moment finish what it started. And if you need reminders, if you need companionship through the parts that feel too heavy to hold alone, there are other reflections on this channel that can walk with you through this, not to rush you, not to push you, just to help you remember when you forget that this is a process with meaning, a process with direction, a process that knows exactly where it's leading you. This in-between isn't your undoing. It's the place where the new you learns how to breathe. You're not disappearing, you're emerging, even if you can't feel it yet. And one day, not suddenly, not dramatically, but quietly, you'll realize the part of you that's forming now is someone you've been trying to meet your whole life. Stay here long enough to let yourself become the new you.